The good news about all of this is that you can talk about it forever and ever, but there's a really good program for actually installing a sensible, charitable community partnership in your company that works. I'm going to talk you through the practicalities of it. So we've done this for private banks, private equity companies, retailers, airline groups, the lot. And every single time it's resulted in happiness. We're not talking about pie in the sky stuff. We're talking about if you do it properly from the beginning, it really works. If you don't, self-destruct. So when we go into a company, for example, the first thing we do is we audit what they've done and why, i.e. how many charities they've supported and who they've given, how much money they've given away, how much volunteering they've done, the whole thing. And sometimes it turns out to be a complete surprise. Sometimes companies are given more away than they think. Sometimes, and most times, they've given away less. But anyway, it helps them establish what they've done, not least as a percentage of their annual profit, etc. And the next thing to do is to establish, you've got to get permission actually, but I should say from the start. If you don't get the permission of the owners or the directors of the company, it won't work at all. So the owners and the directors of the company have got to be completely committed to doing this. That said, when you've done it, you establish a charity group of individuals from within each trading area of the company, or each geographical location sometimes too. So that means someone has to be there for the marketing teams, have to be there for the trading part, they have to be there from the accounts department, they have to represent, in simple terms, every single noise centre in the company, and trading company. And then when you get the charity group together, the first part is to explain to them the long-term purpose of the venture, and you suggest to the charity group that the company adopts one area of charitable work. There are 15 areas of charitable work in this world. Inspire their employees and their customers, because that, after all, is part of the benefit of the whole thing. That's the reason for doing it, to make the customer, to improve the job satisfaction. I'll give you another example in a moment of how this works. Then you say to the charity group, you talk them through things like what size of charities do they want to support? How much money are you prepared to put into this? The only good news about this is quite a lot of the consultancy fees attached to this whole process are allowable against tax. But you've got to say to the people in charge, and it's quite often a board decision, how much money are you prepared to put in to this charity that's about to come and present to these companies? They all have plans, they all have patrons, they all have events they're involved in, and all these activities form a really good fundraising plot for the staff to become involved in. Other things you have to take into account: matching. If an employee runs a marathon for a charity, how much does the company match? It's a very normal process, but you have to cap it sometimes. Volunteering. The issue about volunteering is to get all the employees that you can involved in volunteering to help the chosen charities you've selected, but not just volunteering, sticking their hand up and saying, can I go and help this charity on this particular day? There's a structure. You have to say why you want to go, and then when you come back, you have to say what you've actually achieved. And this begins to form the beginning of a database. So at the end of the first year of your charitable program, you can say, well, at one stage we didn't give much money away, and it was all higgledy-piggledy, and we gave it away to anybody. But actually then we adopted the charities working in the education space. We took these two charities, and over the period of the first year, X number of our employees have gone and volunteered X number of hours to help these charities. This is the sort of hardcore information that begins to feed through into your report at the end of the year. And then you set the first year's objectives, what you want to do, who you want to support, how much you think you can give away, how many of your employees are going to help volunteering. You're getting yourself in order, really. And the final thing is whether you actually want to start your own charitable foundation or not. Some people do, some people would rather leave it for a year to see how it all goes. So we then, in the case of any particular charity, we then go and research a list of all the charities that conform to the company's specification. So the company specification could be national, again about education, and it could be in several different areas. So we go and research charities operating in those areas, and we bring along, and it's always been like this, about 15 charities to the charity committee. And we give them short profiles of each charity, and they go through and they select fundamentally between 8 and 10 that they're really interested in. And 8 and 10 are then briefed by us about the company, what it wants to do, what it wants to achieve, and they're asked to come and make a presentation to the board and the charity committee in about 3 weeks' time. And they come and they explain their work, what they do, they explain the challenges and the opportunities that they have, and how the company can help, and as importantly, how the charity can help the company in all sorts of different ways. In effect, they pitch, they make presentations, and every single time this has been done, it's always been by far the most astonishing and inspirational part of any of these processes, because a corporate board are face-to-face with people actually running magical organizations all over the world, and they want their help. So they begin to engage, and they begin to be inspired, and the staff begin to be inspired as well. They work out how they're going to support them in different ways. There are many, many different ways, literally from work experience to fundraising that a company can support charities, and they work out this partnership between them, which is in the sort of the stage here, which is actually trying to work out how they're going to work together for a year, and that is written down pretty informally, but nevertheless as a sort of formal document. And then the charities, so that's how we're going to work with this charity for the next year or two. And then that program is launched by the charity committee and the charity to all of the staff of the company internally, first of all, so that all the staff get to know about it. So the charities literally pitch up at the company's offices, and they make presentations. They tell the whole of the staff about the work. HSBC Private Bank, they had 2 evenings when the charity they'd chosen came in and spoke to a couple of hundred of their staff. And their staff, you won't be surprised to know, became inspired by all this, and then it took off. The final stage, or one of the final stages of the process, is to tell the world how absolutely wonderful you've been, and that you've decided that you've been through this process, and you've decided to support these particular charities in these particular ways, and that's when you start telling the outside world